Well, it is onions. Time for some onions in here. Oh, I got 3 there. This is the place that I know that I have mostly my bulb onions. You know, onions are ready when their stems flop over and they start to turn brown. These have probably actually been ready for a couple weeks, and I just haven't gotten around to doing it. I'm gonna do all the onions today. We're gonna find that many of them are small and puny or just didn't come out at all. We also have some shallots, and I don't know that we have that many of them, but 3 red bulb onions here. It's a good start to this adventure. So let's do it. Now, one thing I've noticed about planting and growing bulb onions that I didn't appreciate at first is I kind of thought, well, the onion would grow under the ground, but bulb onions don't really grow under the ground. The bulb will end up growing mostly above ground, if not entirely above ground. Like this one right here, the entire bulb is above ground and the root is just in there. And I found that's the way it has to be. If you try to plant your bulb onions too deep with the intent that they should be growing, say, under the ground, like I actually did that when I first started growing years ago, they won't bulb up. You won't get the bulb onion that you're looking for, is what I found. Pull that out. There we go. So that's not a bad size. Onions you want them to cure. You want the skin to dry on the outside and for them to cure as well, similar to what we talked about with garlic, which you'll often see in farms is that they'll pull the onions out and leave them just on the side of the bed or the growing area, dry in the sun, and then come back and pick them up from there. I'm gonna dry these on my racks in the garage. The same racks that I started seedlings on in January and February are now my drying racks. So that's how we'll do it. It's a pretty good onion. That does kind of leave me a space here. I feel like I can grow a kale or something here. Okay. All right, those are the red bulbing onions. Let's see what else we can find. Well, I have a bunch of onions that are in here. They all have not sized up. I think there's maybe 1 shallot in there, and that one's fine, so we'll see that. But in Walla Wallas, there was another red onion in there, but a bunch of Walla Wallas throughout here, and none of them have sized up, and they're done. So I need to pull them out. I mean, I could leave them in for next year, and I did that last year with onions that didn't size up, and by the following spring, I ended up with basically spring onions. It did produce kind of the bulb itself rotted, and then another stem came out, and then there was kind of a longer but big kind of bulb in the ground that grew during the spring, and I got a spring onion out of it. So that was nice, but I'm just gonna go ahead and pull these now. You'll see kind of what the result of that is. In terms of why did that happen, I think probably it was the result of a combination of kind of a true casualty of overcrowding. So I've just got a lot of stuff in these beds, and then related to overcrowding, but not simply that it's just too close to another plant. The fact that these beds do have so much in them, I think, have shaded the onions in the last part of their growing cycle, and so when they normally would have bulbed up, they weren't getting enough photosynthesis. So that's I'm guessing that's probably part of it. I don't think it's moisture or water. These beds have gotten plenty of water back here, so I don't think that was the issue at all. Let me show you some examples of it, and then we'll get to it. Okay, let me get in here and harvest these. While I'm in these beds, there are some things I'm gonna go ahead and harvest or pick up. I've got some ground cherries in here I'm gonna grab. May as well. Ooh, and covering up the ground cherries are some really small onions. Now, this one here is actually a shallot. It should have grown more than this, but That's what that is. These, I believe, actually I'm not sure. I think these are Walla Wallas, but that didn't size up, but they could be shallots. I kind of treat them like shallots though. That's what I do with small onions. A lot of times I just treat them like they were small shallots instead and cut them up and still use them. But yeah, they were intended to be Walla Wallas. I've grown Walla Wallas in our climate before just fine. That they work great. So this is a failure of this particular location and how I treated them this particular year. This here is a shallot. That's what I expect to get from the shallots. But in prior years when I did the shallots and they grew really well, I would get multiple shallots, clustered together. So it's not as good as it could be, but that is a fully formed shallot for that particular variety. Let's see here, well, really just one, maybe two jalapenos in there. Okay, there we go. These two shallots were clumped together, which is what I would expect, and then got another one here. So these shallots are relatively successful. I'm getting full-size shallots there from what was grown, so that's not bad. That's successful. And then, but here is just ripped the green off by accident, but this is another Walla Walla that didn't size up that I will act like was a shallot. I know those of you who are really culinary purists I'm driving you crazy with the idea that I would treat an onion like a shallot when it's not really a shallot, but another Walla Walla that got bigger but still didn't quite size up. And these shallots, I would say, didn't really size up. They should have gotten bigger. I've got a squash here, and I'm not going to be dogmatic about only harvesting onions, even though that's our primary mission, because when I have a squash like that, I don't want to leave it. There's always a squash, right? But I don't want to leave it in the ground because, or leave it on the plant, because these things just blow up very quickly. So that's the right size. If I leave it another day, it could double in size and be larger than ideal. Okay, well, I got a handful here of Walla Wallas and a couple of red onions that didn't bulb up. So got one Walla Walla. It's the biggest one we've got so far. We can use this on the dinner table, but from a growing perspective, it's not the hero shot that I wanted to achieve. I saw some shishitos back there though. Of course I did. So let's grab those while we're here. I'm seeing some carrot tops around. So I had planted some carrot seeds in these beds in and around, and so that's good news. We've got some carrots. The carrot tops don't indicate to me they're anywhere near ready right now, but let's go see if we can find some onions in other parts of the garden. Well, in the theme of harvesting other things that I see while I'm out here, there's a bunch of broccoli that I missed here. It's actually already almost totally lost, but there we go. I should have gotten that earlier on. And then here's an example here. Well, look at that. Another one there. And then this guy, I totally lost the opportunity on this one. I think it's just too big. Same with this one here. That's part of the problem with growing things so densely, is you lose track of what's what. It's not necessarily obvious to see because it's being camouflaged by the other plants that are out there. So put that in that. I'm just going to toss these and then try to keep these for eating. Well, anyway, back to onions. Here on the west bed area, I found a few scragglers, but the only place I found a concentration of some onions for us to look at here were some more red bulb onions that are not as sized up as the ones that we found earlier, but they're ready to come out regardless. So let me grab them here. This one pulled the stem off by accident. I mean, again, these will be fine for the table. They're just not the kind of thing that I would say is a glory shot. Well, if you remember, my garlic didn't come out the way I wanted either, so I would say this year is a puny allium year for me. I swear I've done it before though. I've grown them successfully, things have sized up. This is not indicative of every time I've ever grown, but I'm still learning what works in this particular driveway garden, in this small space. What can I actually get away with? Working on learning that step by step here. I do have some corn over here. I keep coming along and shaking the stalks against each other to try to make up for the lack of having a block that will properly pollinate. There's like, I just don't know if they'll fill out well or not. We'll see. I think I got it. I think that's all there is. That's what I identified was available off camera before bringing you guys along here. So, okay, well, I have my onions and I'm just gonna put them out here to dry. So classically what you do is you let the onions dry so that the outer skin can dry, and then they would preserve longer that way is the idea. I'm gonna throw them on these racks. There's lots of different ways you can do it. I've seen some people that will, when they have racks like this, another way to do it would be to just drop them through right there. But some of my onions are so small they might fall through. So my precious little onions, they're all just very special. Theoretically, it'd be nice to keep the yellows and the Walla Wallas versus the red ones separate, probably, from the shallots. But like I was talking about out in the garden, I'll probably just treat many of the onions that are small as if they were shallots, like these little guys here. There we go. Have a real bulb here. Well, I guess the upshot is this is not too many onions for my family. I don't have so many that I have to worry about what to do with them. Can you imagine though, if all of these had bulbed up? We don't eat that many onions. Maybe in recipes we could have, if all of these had up, I mean, that, and then I was good at preserving them, that would cover onion needs for quite a while. Mostly doing this exercise. The garlic that was here, by the way, I moved outside so I can clean it up. Get it down to just the heads that I can put into a bag or a basket for the kitchen. That's it. Onions to dry. Thanks for gardening with me here in the driveway garden.